Hello and welcome back to the channel. So in the last video we looked at how to build the order page, and in this video we'll be looking at how to build the order details page. Let's get right into it. So there are some few changes I want us to do on the order item widget, which is this widget we see over here. So the first thing I want us to do is, instead of using a sizer box with another if statement, that becomes a little bit complicated. We could have wrapped the text button in a padding widget and then just use one if statement. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to wrap this in a padding and give it a padding of only top with a value of 10, so the same as the sizer box. Then we can remove the sizer box, right? So that makes it much simpler. I also want the if statement to have the length greater than 2, right? In that case, when an order has just 2 products, we don't see the view all button. So picking, for instance, it has just 2 products in an order and we don't see the view all button, right? So these are the changes I want us to do before continuing the order details page. Now the order details page is just blank for now, and the first thing we'll be doing is having our stepper, right? So with a stepper we are going to use a package called easy stepper. So if you go to pub.dev, you find this package over here called easy stepper. You just have to copy this and then paste it in your pubspec.yaml. So in your pubspec.yaml, you paste the easy stepper package here, right, just under your dependencies, and then you run pub get, or in VS Code you can click on this get packages button here, right? So that is going to add the easy stepper package to your dependencies. So the first thing I want us to do is to convert this stateful widget back to a stateless widget, because I don't think we'll be dealing with any state on this page, right? So after that, when we see we're going to have an error, we just have to hot restart and that should fix it, right? Now in the body of our app, we're going to have a list view, because of course our app will be scrollable on this page, and we are going to have the stepper, right? So in order to create a stepper, we're going to use the easy stepper package. So we first create the easy stepper package by importing it like this, and we need to pass in the active step and the number of steps we have, which is going to be a list of easy step, right? So let's first find our active step. In order to find our active step, we need to have the list of steps and then the active one, right? So let's first create a variable. I'm going to use const over here for the list of steps, and that is going to be steps, and our steps, if you remember, is our order statuses dot values. So this will bring us a list of order statuses, and we need to find the active step, which is the status of this order, right? So in order to do that, we're going to create a variable called active step, and that is going to be our order status, or our steps dot index of our order dot status. So we need to find the index of our order status in this list of steps, and that is going to give us the active step. So we now have our active step fixed, but then we need the list of steps, which is a list of easy steps. So I'm going to use the list.generate, and then from our steps.length, and for each item I want us to return an easy step, just like this. And we say we are going to have an error because we need to provide either an icon or a custom icon, right? So a custom avatar or anything like that within the easy step. So I'm first going to provide an icon, and then this icon is going to be icons.local shipping, and the reason is we don't have icons for each step, right? We haven't created an icon for each step, so we are just going to use this local shipping icon for now. Good. Now let's customize our active steps So the first thing I want to do is I want to have padding within the whole body, so I'm going to add padding here. Insert.all with a value of 16, right? And then I want to reduce the size of this steps. So there is a property here called step radius, and I'm going to give it a value of 8 like this. And this looks a bit small, but no problem, we're going to put some text over here. So there is another property here called in the easy step called title. So not within the easy step itself, but not within the step itself, but the easy step called title, and that is going to be the text we want to show for that step. So it's going to be a text widget, and it's supposed to be a string, right? So it's going to be our steps index dot name, and we can't put a cons here because of that. So for now, our title is showing at the bottom. So what we could do is there is a property called top title, and we can set it to true, and that is going to move our title to the top. So the next thing I want us to do is to style this line, right? So in order to do that, we are going to use a property called line style, and this line style takes a line style, right? And we are going to first change the default line color. So that's the dots in these steps, and that is going to be colors dot gray dot shade 300, right? So we are going to have this gray color for the steps, and we are going to have a line length. So realize that these things are close together. So line length is going to be the length of each step. So let's assume our whole stepper is going to take 70% of our screen's width, and we are going to divide the 70% by the number of steps we have, so that if the 70% is, let's say, 25, and then we have 5 steps, then each step is getting a width of 5. So in order to do that, we are going to use the media query dot of context dot size dot width, and this will give us the full width of the screen, and we want to have 70% of it. Then this 70%, we want to divide it by the number of steps we have, so that each step will have a portion of an equal amount of the 70%. So when we do this and we save, realize we have enough space for each step. Now when our step is finished, we want to show a different icon. So there is a property called finish icon, and we can use this property to show a different icon. So I'm going to use the icon done, and for now this particular order is still processing, so we have no done icon shown for now. So if we go to picking or shipping, and realize that we have this guy stick over here, so we realize that our text are missing, right? So in order to fix that, we need to provide colors for when that step is finished and when it is active, right? So I'm going to provide an active step text color, and that is going to be colors.black87. Right, so this is what will show when it is active, and when it is finished. So finished step text color, right? And we are going to show our primary color. Right, so this is what we will get when it is done. We show a done icon. If it is shipping, we show the loading, which is by default, and then the text is dark. And if it hasn't reached that point, which is we haven't delivered yet, it's more like a disabled, right? So this is what we are going to have for our stepper, which is very easy using the easy stepper package. So one problem we have with the delivered is on the delivered page, it still shows this loading symbol, right, or loading animation. So in order to fix that, when our active step is the last item, we want to add 1 to it. So that will make sure that it is marked as done. So if our active step is equal to our step.length minus 1, which means we are we are on the last step. Then we want to have active step plus 1, else we want to just have the active step. So all that this will do is this checks if this active step is the last step. If it's the last step, add 1 to whatever step we are on, else just put that step there. So if you do that, realize that delivered is also marked as done, right? So this is how our stepper is going to be, right? Now after the stepper, we are going to have our other details. So the delivery date, the user details, the payment details, all those kind of things are going to be after our easy step. Just after that, we are going to have a sizer box for space, and then we are going to have a card. So everything is going to be in one of these cards. So card, and then I'm going to copy in the properties we've been using. So and we can't see anything for now. So this card, within it we are going to have a column with some children, and let's first wrap some padding around this column so that we have space within the card. So padding, and I'm going to give it a value of 10, like this, and we can immediately see our card, right? And I fill the sizer box the height of 20s. I'm a bit huge, so I'm going to give it 15 or 10, right? So this looks a bit okay, and we are going to have a row which has the order ID, and then also has the status of the order over here, more like a chip, right? So within this card, in the column, the first thing we are going to have is order ID, and then we are also going to have the order status as chip, right? So, and all these are going to be in a row. So we are going to have a row with some children, and then the first chart is going to be the text with and we have to move the cons from here. So the first chart is going to be the text with the order, like this, and then I'm going to style this text. So style text style, and we are going to just apply a font weight of bold. So after this row, we are going to have our chip. We are going to use the chip widget, and then the label is going to be a text that is going to be our active step, right? So we are going to have our list of orders. So we already have our steps over here, and we are going to look for our steps, and then active step dot name, right? So the active step, our list of steps, the active step, and we are looking for the name, and we are going to put it here. So within the row, we can have main axis alignment and set it to main axis alignment or space between, like this, so that it pushes everything to the end and it gives a space between this. And let's style our chip. So I first want to change the shape of the chip to be a stadium border shape, and that's going to give us this a fully rounded shape. And then I want to remove this border around it, so I'm going to the side property and set it to border side dot none, right? So the border is missing, and I want to give it a background color. So the background color is going to come from our theme, and then I'm looking for my color scheme and then primary container. So when I save this, we have this background color, but I want to give a little bit of opacity, so 0.4, and then we get this background color with this opacity. Now, so we're going to use some avatar and then reduce the padding within this avatar. So our label padding is going to be 0, right, like this, and then also we are going to override the padding within the avatar itself. So edge insert dot symmetric, and I want to give only horizontal, so horizontal 10, and then vertical 0, and the vertical 0 does almost nothing, so we can remove it like this. Yeah, so this is what we're going to have for our chip. Now we need to put an icon over here to make it look a bit nicer. As I said, we don't have an icon for our other statuses yet, so I'm just going to use any icon. So I'm going to use an icon, fire truck icon, right? So this is going to be the icon we are going to use for this, right? And that's going to be for this row. So outside the row, we need to have some space and then put the delivery time there. So sizer box or padding, any of them will do. I'm going to wrap this in the padding, and I give it a padding of only bottom with a value of 5, right? And now we can put our delivery time here. So the delivery time is going to be in a row, and we are going to have the text that says delivery estimate, and then we are going to have the actual delivery time there. So I have a text that says order dot date and delivery date, right? And you know, we can't just do to string. If we do to string over here, we're going to have this. So we want to format these days in a more readable form. So the best way to do this is to create an extension on the date time class, right? So let's come to our directory and create a new directory called utils if we already don't have one. So you already have utils. I'm going to create another directory called extensions within it, and then within it have a date.dat, and this is going to be an extension called delivery date on date time, right? I'm just putting another method on the date time class, right? So extension delivery date on date time, and then we want to get the formatted date. So we are first going to have the list of months, and I'm going to bring that in. So we have some list of months over here, which is the month abbreviation of month, and we want to have the month, date, and then year. So that's going to be a string, right? So this is what we're going to get. We're going to have the month abbreviation, so selecting the current month, then the day, and then the year. And if you're wondering how you're just putting day and year over here, day and year are coming from the date time itself, so you don't have to do this dot date, this dot year. So another way is you can do this dot day, and then you are referring to that particular day of the delivery date, right? But it's not necessary. You can just do day, year, referring to the particular delivery date we are calling this method on. So if we come to our order details page, instead of doing order delivery date dot to string, we can do dot delivery date like this. I think we should give it a better name, so let's do format date. So delivery date of format date, right, like this. And we are going to have our February 1st 2022 date for the delivery. Now let's apply some main axis alignment of space between, and that's what you are going to get, right? So all that we need to do is to style our text and give it a font weight of bold, the delivery date. So right, and we are going to have this. So after this, we are going to have the name of the user who is currently logged in, the one who ordered this product. So let's first have some space using sizer box, and then we are going to have the text, and I'm going to put a dummy name there, so just Williams, and we are going to make this name bold. So style text style, and apply a font weight of bold. So realize that we have a problem, that's the text is being centered. So in the column, let's set the cross-axis alignment to cross-axis alignment as start, and that will fix that. Just after that, we want to have the location address, right, and then the phone. So just after this text, we want to have a space, so a sizer box with a height of 5, and all these codes will be linked in the GitHub repository, so you can look at it later on if you want to check something. So we have the sizer box with a height of 5, and we want to have a row with some children. And the first child is going to be an icon, and then the text is going to be the user's address, right? So we're going to have an icon, which is going to be our currently light package, and then we are looking for home, like this. Also not bold, iconic light. Also, I want to reduce the size of this icon, so give it a size of 15, which should be okay, like this. And then I want to have the text, so text, which is the actual location of this user, right? So I'm going to paste this, which is the location of this user. Now there should be a space between this icon and then text, so I'm going to the sizer box with a width of 5, so that will give some space between this home icon and then the text, which is the user's location, right? And we have to wrap this in an expanded widget, so in case if the user's location is too long and it can't fit in this card, we don't want it to overflow. So let's wrap this text in an expanded widget or a flexible widget, any of them will do, right? So if it can't fit on this row, it's just going to move on to the next line. And I also have a \n over here. It is just because of the design, but if this information is coming from a database, you don't really have to put this there, right? So after this row, we need to have the phone number of the user, right? And we are going to put a sizer box for spacing, and then we need a phone number. The phone number is going to be the same as the row we have over here, so I'm going to copy this. The only thing that will change is this is going to be call, and then this is going to be the actual phone number of the user instead of the location. So you can put your phone number here like this, right? And this is what we are going to have. Now after that, we're also going to have another one that is going to be the payment method, right? And it's going to be the same row with sizer box as space. So just after this row, I'm going to create another sizer box with a height of 25, because I want this to be a bit away from the rest of the content. And I'm going to copy one of these rows, so just this one here, and then the text, instead of we having an icon over here, is going to be a text that says payment method. And then we don't need a sizer box here. We also don't need this expanded, so remove this widget. And then the text is going to be the payment method the user chose. So for now, we're going to have credit card, and then the last digits of the credit card, so 1 2 3 4 for now. And let's apply some styles to this. So first, I want this to be space between, and I want this credit card to be bold. Right, so that's going to be all for the details about the order concerning the user, right? And then delivery time, the user, and then the payment method. So you can extract this as a separate widget, or just leave it here because it's not that much, and then we are not reusing it anywhere else. So the next thing is to have our order item. So sizer box with a height of 30, and then we need our order item, and then we pass in the order like this, right? So when we save, we are going to have the whole order item here. Now one thing I want us to do is, the order item by default shows 2 products if there are more than 2 products. So if I go to a product that has more than 2 products, we see that we have the order item showing these 2 products, and then as well as a view button. On this particular page, we always want to show just a single product. So in order to do that, let's come to the order item and then add another property called visible product, and that should be an integer, right? And let's set this visible product by default to 2. So this dot visible product equal to 2 by default, and we can now use this visible product here instead of the hard-coded 2 that we used. So back to the other details page, we can pass the visible product as 1 on this particular page, and realize that we have just 1 product here. We still have the view all button, and that shows us the rest of the product, right? So if you go to shipping, for instance, realize that we have processing done, picking done, and we are now shipping, and we have the other details here as well. If we go to delivered, realize that all these products have been delivered with the status being delivered, right? And then we have the items in it. So that is going to be for the other details page. If there is something you don't understand, you can let me know in the comment section. Also, I will leave a link to this codes so that you can have a look at it some other time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.